Hi everyone, Jarrad VK3BL here, and I must confess this is about maybe my 5th time of trying to make this video, and basically today I want to compare the Yaesu FT70D, Fox Tango 70 Delta, and the Yaesu FT2D, Fox Tango 2 Delta. Now the Yaesu FT2D is currently Yaesu's top of the line handheld. It did come out first. And it has a few bells and whistles, a few extras, like it's got a resistive touchscreen, so you can use it with gloves. It has a GPS receiver in, so using APRS, other stations can see your location. And its WiseX control is slightly nicer. You know, you get a menu-driven control of the node. You can send messages to the node or the WiseX room. The WiseX functionality is just a little bit nicer. But that said, when the FT70 hit the market, and it came out after the FT2D, it came out at 1/3 of the price. And I said to myself, I've just got to try this radio. You know, what's it going to be like for you know, $200 US? Is it going to be a good radio? What's it going to be like? And I was very surprised to discover not only is it made in Japan, it seems to be of quite good build quality. It's got you know, it's got a rubber gasket seal around the battery. It's quite light, it feels good in the hand, and you can actually use it for System Fusion and WiseX. Now, both of these, all the System Fusion handhelds are only 2 and 70 centimeters. Now, it doesn't have GPS, so that you know, that's one of the things you lose out on, and it doesn't have the touchscreen. Now, on the face of it, you might think that's a big deal. You know, touchscreens, oh, they're the big thing nowadays and all of that. But I must confess, when it came to programming in my repeaters, and I did it by hand, without reading a manual, I programmed this whole radio up with all my favorite repeaters, you know, and all the calling frequencies and everything. You know, it was just easy and done. Ooh, you know, and then I actually cloned it. Yaesu came out with free licensed RT system software for both radios, and they've got their own version you can get for free. And I downloaded all my programming and I uploaded it to my Elmer's FT70D that I'd gotten in for Christmas with my friend Ross. And I must say, I've absolutely loved it. Since I've got it, I've hardly used my FT2D. And you might think, why would you do that? And there's a couple of reasons. One, the build quality is solid. So it feels nice in the hand. You don't feel like you're using a lesser quality radio. It feels every bit as nice as the FT2D. Two, when it comes to controlling WiseX, yes, you don't get the menu control and all of that, but it's simple enough to do what you need. Now, I use this as a radio to access my node that I've set up, and if I want to connect to a room and I don't remember the 5-digit number of the room, I can just log onto my computer here and connect to the room like so. Well, maybe not like so, but you know, just connect up like that. So I don't actually need the full touchscreen navigation to use this handheld generally. I'm already in the shack somewhere or near the shack. If I don't remember the WiseX room I want to connect to, I can just do it on the computer. It's not a big deal. And GPS, once again, I don't need that either, because if I'm in the shack, the GPS location of my WiseX node is getting transmitted. So it's not really a loss. And I actually think that this radio, if you're running your own node, or you're just getting into System Fusion and you don't want to spend too much money, I think it's fantastic. And I'd actually rate this as the best value handheld on the market at the moment, and that's including the Chinese radios. Now, I really can't say enough good things about this radio. The one fault people have noticed is it does seem to develop some hairline cracks in the transmit and receive LEDs. See these LEDs here? Just the front bezel. Would that detract from the water rating or anything? I don't think so. They're just hairline fractures. I'd say the plastic was cooled too quickly or whatever. Am I going to get my warranty on that, you know, send it back for warranty? Heck no, I'm not. I couldn't care less. I can still see the LED. It has no impact whatsoever, but that's the one fault. And I do like to mention the faults the product has, because when a fault becomes that trivial and that's the only one you can find worth mentioning, it shows you've got a good product. Now, we'll contrast that a little bit to the FT2D, and this will help explain why my love affair with that radio isn't quite what I'd hoped. And simply put, I'll show you the display. Hold that up for you. Now, that display, yes, it's a touchscreen, but the contrast is terrible. You know, you can see the backlights, the 3 backlights on the right-hand side there. You can see bleed in. Oh, we've got someone transmitting there. That's pretty cool. But, you know, the screen, it looks terrible for a $500 USD radio. To be frank, Yaesu, I'm really disappointed in the screen. I think you could have done a lot better. Secondly, and this I cannot fathom, despite this being a touchscreen radio, I have not figured out how to program my favourite local repeaters into it. The FT70D, I sat on the couch and it was done. I might have to turn this down a little bit, if I can remember how. Well, there's another thing I don't know how to do. I don't play around with handhelds much. No, that's not the one. I'll just change the frequency. Anyway, that should have changed the volume. Maybe it did. Oh yeah, it did, yeah. Top 1 volume, duh. Now, despite it being a touchscreen, I could not figure out how to program my local repeaters. The FT70, I just did by hand, bang, done, saved them, cloned them, put them on my friend's radio, all done. This thing still doesn't have a single repeater programmed into it, despite me owning it longer. And that's because I can't figure out how. Now, I could read the user's manual, admittedly, but to me, if you've given someone a more advanced interface, like a touchscreen, it should be easier. It shouldn't be harder. And I think Yaesu has a bit to answer for that. Why is it that their simpler model without a touchscreen that's running the same tried and tested Yaesu firmware, I guess, or software, is easier to program than their new model? You know, that is a big question. And maybe I'm stupid. Feel free to call me stupid in the comments, or even tell me how to program it, because I refuse to read the manual. If I can't program manuals in repeaters into it, there must be something wrong. That's just how I am, right? But thirdly, the audio quality coming out of that isn't actually as nice as the FT70D. The FT70D speaker there's a little bit of a hiss in the 2D that's not there in the 70. So, because of those things, because I don't need the GPS, because I don't need the touchscreen, because I either remember the room or I just use the computer, and because it doesn't sound as nice, I actually use the 70D a lot more than I do the 2D. So, I guess the question comes down to which one should you buy. Now, if you're setting up your own node like I have, or if you just want a handheld, you don't have a handheld, it's your first one, the FT70D is the best handheld on the market for the money. The price to value ratio, the value ratio, I guess, the value is right up there. It's not much more than a Chinese handheld. It's made in Japan. It's backed by a good manufacturer's warranty. It's a solid radio. It's easy to use. It's just fantastic for the money. So the question is, I guess, who would buy an FT2D then? And I guess the only times you'd really want to, I guess, consider the FT2D is if you're a couple of things. One, if you don't have a Wires X node, so you've got good local reception where you live, pardon me, you've got good local reception, and you can hit your friend's Wires X node or a Wires X, your friend's Fusion / Wires X node, or a Fusion Wires X repeater or something like that, and you do want the advanced menu structure and I guess usability of the Wires X system, but you don't want to invest in a node, that's when that would come in handy. And the only other time that radio would really have the advantage, I guess, is if you're going four-wheel driving or something with a bunch of other amateurs, and you know, one of them's a bushwalker or something, and you've got a Fusion system in your car, like an FTM 100 or an FTM 400, and you've got a mate off hiking, and you know, he calls out for help or whatever, and you're going to see his bearing if he's using that handheld. If he's using the FT70, you won't get any direction info. So for safety reasons, the FT2D does win, but how many times have I been full driving with all amateurs? Never. Not in the whole time I've owned it, and I suspect I never will. So that's kind of a downer. Also, when it comes to, I guess, emergency comms, because Yaesu System Fusion is proprietary, I don't think it'll see a lot of emergency comm or MCOM use. I think DMR is probably the mode to go for there. It's a little bit more complicated to set up, but it is a lot more open. So in that regard, which one's the winner? The FT70D. If I had to sell one, and to be honest, I'm probably moving soon, so I need to rationalise the shack a bit. The FT2D is the one that's going. For the money you pay, I'm disappointed. I've got a bit of buyer's remorse. FT70D, I thought was so good I bought one for my friend for Christmas, my Alma for Christmas. So that's basically how I feel about both of them. Yaesu kicked the goal with the FT70. With the FT2D, well, you can go over there. The only other thing that it does useful that the only other thing I guess that the FT2D has over the FT70D, neither come with the cradle by the way, and these are aftermarket antennas. It's a diamond BNC converter. Is that the charging base on the FT70D, if you've got the radio on, won't trickle charge the battery. The 2D doesn't seem to suffer that problem. I haven't confirmed it, you know, the light stays red like it's charging. I haven't confirmed that it actually is, but certainly the charging base on the 70D is another bit of a gotcha. It is annoying that you can't have it sitting, so you can't have the radio on listening and the battery's charge state maintained. It will go flat even though it's on the cradle, and that's a bit silly. And I think Yaesu probably did that to push you in the direction of the 2D, but I could be wrong. Anyway, that's those two radios. 70D is a real fantastic handheld. It's what I'd recommend if you're buying your first handheld and you've got the money to buy a big 3 radio. You know, you could spend a little bit more than a Baofeng or something. Go for the FT70D. You get a digital mode and you get a really solid, made in Japan 270cm handheld. As for the FT2D, well, do you really need it? If you're in a ham like me and you're addicted to HF, the answer is no. Don't buy it. That's just my opinion. Write in the comments what you think. This is Jarrad VK3BL saying 73 for Rate My Radio.